before we get into this evening's live, I would like to go over a quick overview of what I believe is the most important thing that we need to discuss here during this live. And I did change my title right before I started because I wanted to go in a different direction at looking at this more from a scale of what we can control and not from like an institutional standpoint. So I put more of the focus on the actual setup. That's rather interesting. That's the second time it's done that. I'm not exactly sure why that's happening. But, you know, that's YouTube for you. But anyhow, we'll deal with that if it keeps happening. But the question here is, there's two of them that I have for not just my audience, but for myself as well. I'm sticking in it, holding. Let's see if we can make some extra money. XRP Hitman, welcome in. Z. Trading with J-Ride, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 3 years with the XP Diamond Hands badge. Hit that like button indeed. Joseph, welcome in. Says, Father Tom, ¿cómo estás, mi amigo? Welcome, Joseph. Love it. King, welcome in. UK Phil and Mark Caston, along with Bob Burtner, thank you, all three of you, for being in Tom's Army for over 6 months with the XP Predictors. 777DW Round, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for your second month with the Dusty's Outhouse Crypto News. Very important question. If you're watching, and I'll know right when I see your comment, if you're the legendary supporter, you know we've talked about the XRP token that you want me to sign. Haha, remember, blah, blah, blah. I need you to send me an email because when I updated my phone for some reason, I cannot get that email so that I can send it to you. It came in. I want to do something nice. And I'm excited because this is a very in-depth token and it's really cool. I got one for myself. And I want to put your name and stuff on it with the date that I send it out. So if you're watching, please, if you're the legendary supporter, I got the token. It came in today. So if you're watching it now or after, you can comment in the live or you can send it to strutregali@gmail.com where we were emailing. So just if you're out there in the abyss, please let me know so that I can, you don't even have to send anything more. Just send me a email that has a dot on it and it'll reattach all of your emails to me. So that's all I need. But for some reason, my certain things are being blocked off when I got my new technology, let's just say my new devices. So I would really, really, really greatly appreciate that if you're out there. Wales, Josie Wales, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 6 months with the XP Predictor. Dave Novak, welcome in. Lee, good evening. And one thing before I go any further, IOST, I chopped it off. Yesterday when I did some deeper digging, you know what I came up with? One, that BitBoy was pushing it in its early stages. Two, it's all China related. So that's more of I believe that's going to end up being a China pump and dump. I could be wrong, but that's something that I seen and I'm like, you know what? I got to talk about this tomorrow. So once I seen the attachment, I said, I'm done with IOST, whether it's a Internet of Things token or not. That was like the early. Going back on it, it's pretty crazy what I ended up finding and all the nonsense that was spewed by, well, I don't even want to go into it. But anyhow, we got a lot to talk about here. So anything with his attachment, I'm not interested in. Oh, my email to be a guest on your radio show. Ooh, that would be awesome. Nobody's ever had me as a guest. Believe it or not. And I don't even strike a tough bargain. Let me put my email on here just so you can see it, anti-communist. So it's a little bit easier so that you don't have to type it in and then try to figure this out. But you guys are going to notice something that I found unbelievable. Well, not unbelievable, but I find it interesting. I've always been up in the air with Jasmine. I only bought it because my audience members, so I don't know. If it was me personally, I'm not as big of a fan as the ones who are in my audience. Let's just put it that way. But the ones who are in my audience that live on that side of the world that are claiming this, just in case, 500-600 bucks in it. That's appreciated a little bit. No big deal. But we do have to get into a lot of stuff here. But one thing you will notice, the hardcore, you're going to notice how once the market starts dropping, when you can actually watch to see when the next big opportunity comes, most people leave. If it's not green, if they're not making money, believe it or not, they will turn their stuff off. They will walk away from the portfolio, and even though they wouldn't sell for 400 or 500%, they will literally walk away and let it go to zero before they sell out, before they get any of that 100% maximum profit return that they could have got at the very top of a cycle. And then they'll go away and stop watching. They'll stop communicating. They'll stop participating, not just in my channel, but in crypto as a whole. And then they come back and they go, oh my God, I didn't know it was going to break down like that. Now it's down 50% from where it's at, and yada, yada, so on and so forth. So my big question here this evening, after I do the intro, and Amanda, welcome in, love. Thank you so much for being in here. I believe that was Amanda I seen. It just went by. Thank you for being in Tom's Army for your first month as well. That's unbelievable. You guys and gals are so generous. Seriously, you are. But like, I've had a very open and honest conversation with myself yesterday, and I said, listen, Tom, if, and we're not saying it's happening yet, if, remember that's the key word after we do the intro, because I don't want to piss anybody off, but if is the operative word this evening. Just remember, it's an if, it's an if, it's an if. And we'll talk about that right after the intro. Good evening, 6:14 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Tuesday, January 7th, 2025. I'm XRP Future Millionaire, and I reside in the great state of Michigan. We're going to need it all tonight. So, the operative word was if, remember. Let's see how many people we have. Okay, considerably down because it's not 253, 354. It's back down into the 100, see? And this is just one day of red. So yeah, dog bite. I can honestly relate to what you're saying. I have considerably cut down, even more than I had. I have put more into cash, not off the exchange. I didn't sell any of my XRP yet because that's not my plan with XRP until it breaks a certain point, because I've already done what I need to do in that regard. But there's a few that I have chopped the heads off of, so to say. It's because I feel like something bigger could possibly be happening here. But there's a few that I want to look at a bargain that is going to come. We'll get into all of this in a little bit. But the point is here, love that, Michigan. That's awesome. We'll look at VeChain, trust me. We'll look at VeChain. But I want to ask everybody an honest question. Is XRP going to survive the Pennant flag if Bitcoin breaks the rising broadening wedge and goes down to 74K? First question, yes or no? And if it does, that means that XRP is going to do what? Decouple. But can I ask you an honest question? Are we ready to decouple if the case hasn't been fully dismissed? Because I can only ask myself one question. And when I look at certain things, it's a very open and honest question I'm asking with myself. Because one could argue there's two very different charts that are going. There are two very different charts that are presenting themselves, for instance. And I'll continue. We have the rising broadening wedge, and the only way that we could come up in the rising broadening wedge is we could come up here, but the more likely scenario is that you break down, but we were trying to pull that last time, hit that technical target, but I don't even want to keep that up there, because that's a scenario that could play out, and maybe this is a big W reversal, but we're literally one small sell-off away from invalidating the rising broadening wedge from being inside of it to going outside of it. And once you invalidate that structure from being within to below, and you get the proper validation, your technical target is like 74,000. I had it in the title, but I didn't want to scare everybody. Like the way I had it worded, it was very strong, and there probably would be more viewers, but I figured at the end of the day I would label it the way I did, only because I don't want people to come here because of fear. I want them to come here because of an honest question. Someone says never go under 150. I wouldn't get into that never say nevers talk, because remember the never say never back in 21? It's never going to go under $1. It's never going to go under 50 cents. It's never going to do this. Never say never. You can't say it never will, because we have a fair value gap at 4 cents, 42 cents, 82 cents, or 92 cents. We've also got fair value gap at $1.52. God forbid that breaks. But remember, I asked the question of the pennant flag, not because I'm saying it's going to break down, because I'm asking, can it hold? And this was just some quick stuff we started talking about in my earlier update. We've had, and let me just go over what's going on here, because nothing's changed. We have resistance 1, support 1, resistance 2, support 2, resistance 3, support 3. And then what? Yeah. So now what? So that's a high. That's a lower high 2, lower high 3. That's a low, higher low 2, higher low 3. So are we going 3 to higher low 4 and then back out? Are we swinging back down? Are we just back testing what we've talked about before? Even if it doesn't have to come down to 208, we could back test the short-term breakout at 216. Or does it come down to the fair value gap level? Like that's the honest to God what we're looking at in the chart. And like maybe this is foreign to some people. Well, it should be if you don't know what you're looking at. And that's why I'm here. We have the monthly fair value gap at $1.82. So the question is it going to hold these levels? And if it's not, you can't say it's never going to go below $1.50. The last person who said it was never going to go there, they're still picking up their ass, because they literally lost their shorts. And when they fell, they scraped their ass so bad that they can't get back up. Like, that's the reality of crypto. So you don't want to be that person without any underwear on or pants, just on the cement, just being dragged along. Like, that's what it's like in crypto when you say this can never happen, because then it's going to happen. So now you might have put bad karma on us. Don't say it's never going to happen, because now you're just tempting the powers that be. So if this breaks down out of this pennant flag, I didn't say this is what has to happen. The charts are saying this is what would happen. If the pennant flag breaks, as of right now, it's $1.05. You know, if it were to break out, we could fill the gap at $2.05 in the fair value gap. Some are saying Bitcoin to 108K in 48 hours. I hope they're right. If they're right, my God, are we going to have a nice explosion in our portfolio again? Come down to the 200-day. I'll tell you, the Fed's not doing us any favors. The debt market's certainly not doing us any favors. If I was a bet man, I would say, you know, if Trump comes into office and crypto is going to be very bullish, what might have to happen leading into him coming into office? Because you don't want to go in too hot in the stock market and because he could frame it as, oh, look, at the end of Biden's presidency, everything collapsed by 28%, 35%. Then he comes into office and it comes back to even, and now all of a sudden he's up 35%. I see a big daily reversal there. The macro is definitely not doing us any favors right now. Yes, that's better, Steele. He says it will never be $10,000, Julie. I like that. Because now if you've tempted the gods to be, and they're like, oh, you son of a bitch, you can't go up there. Oh, sorry. Not the language, but the powers to be might be reading that now, and they're going to say, oh, you don't think I can go up there because that would be an unrealistic market cap? Well, in this one scenario, market cap doesn't matter. And then maybe the demigods serve us right. Only because, basically, I mean, this whole damn market's based on probably some kind of weird voodoo and rituals and some backdoor that we don't even want to talk about. But it's pretty interesting what's taking shape here. I think it is. That's a huge reversal in the daily. And I'm not just saying a big reversal, massive reversal. At the very least, you would think it would get you back down into this range. But you got two very different outcomes that have been going on. We've been bleeding for a little bit going into the ETFs, right? And then on Friday, there was a 1 billion inflow, but then we started to have outflows as this week started again. But good luck trying to find that in the last 24 to 36 hours. You can only find going back to last week when we were having big outflows going on, $300-400 million from certain ones. IBIT was the biggest hit. But then you had a big inflow. But it almost feels like to me on a rising broadening wedge, what would be the reason to have that big inflow? Is retail being used as exit liquidity right now? That is the foundation of this question. Because I've already given us the option. And what have we talked about for us to know we're going into an alt season? Ethereum 1 needs to get up and out of here. It can't. It got rejected at 3,500. It couldn't even get past it. We had 2 tiers to get out of here to start pushing back up because we're in. What are we in again with this rising broadening wedge? What does that look like to me? A right shoulder. Like, I'm being dead serious here. Like, this is the time to actually have a real conversation, because if that's a right shoulder, we're going back down to 2,100 on Ethereum. And if that's the case, I mean, I've been trying to warn for how long now? And like when I said I took 75% of my profits now, I only have so much, but this doesn't count XRP or XRP healthcare. Just my portfolio is a lot of safety now in cash. A lot of it. I didn't sell 10,000 XRP. I still have the 10,000 XLM and Algo and some of the other ones. But like DGB, I went from 1 million back down to 122,000 because it went up 58% from when we bought those additional 800,000. But I can see what's forming here. I'm not going to just throw my money away. I can't do it. So if this plays out, this is going to be a disaster. If it doesn't and this pushes back up, oh, it'd be great. But the problem is here right now, it's not showing us that. It's not showing us. It's showing us that this is bad. Like, because it was it was like a fake out of the bear flag. And now look, this is what we were talking about yesterday. Oh, it could hold the bear flag on the retest, and that's what we'd be looking for on a breakback. This almost looks like it was an orchestrated move out. Like, look at this. This came all the way back to the bottom of where the actual bear flag was formed. This is craziness. And then somebody goes to me earlier, Tom, that looks like an inverse bull flag. And they're new. They don't know anything about crypto. And I'm like, yes. And you know what an inverse bull flag is? And he's like, no. And I thought he was joking. But like I said, the new year, I'm being nicer. So I just took it at face value and said, well, a bear flag would be kind of like when you look at a head and shoulders and it's upside down and we call it an inverse head and shoulders. The inverse bull flag would be the bear flag. And it's whatever you think it's going to do to the top side, in reality, it's going to do back down. And no disrespect, Tom, but how can you... How can you invoke Christ and talk about other gods? Come on, man, you need to be careful with that. I was speaking of the mythical God, the demigod. I wasn't preaching it. I wasn't throwing it out into the realm. I said the way... Oh, okay, I see. You're right, Julie. Okay, so anyhow, this topping reversal, that's a very clear I'm topping reversal, very clear rising broadening wedge. And if this breaks down, it's 2,120. That's the technical target. Actually, it might be a little bit different because it's way out here. Thank you so much, Trading with J-Ride, for not only being in Tom's Army for over 3 months or 3 years with the XRP Diamond Hands, but also thank you for the $10 donation. He said, oh crap, I can't see. I got to get my phone out. See, Julie, you get credit for calming the beast. All right. If you like blockchain backer, you'll love Tom's TA. Hit the like button, people. Yep. Nah. Hey, I always talk about don't forget to give thanks to your Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. And you know what? No matter how God is presented to us, or no matter how the talk happens, God has become present in this community, in this conversation, because more than us has spoke His name. So even if evil spirits are present, they've been taken away by the light. Some of our audience has been taken away by the light as well. Because once they see the green go away and they start seeing the red, it's over. But not caring how we just made all those profits. Like, listen, I'm not trying to scare anybody here. I really am not. But we just have to pay attention to what's in front of us. That is all I'm saying. It's not even that bad yet. But what if Ethereum comes down? And I'm being very honest with everybody because I don't think we're going to go down to 2120. I think more than likely that's a fake out to the bottom. But what I don't think is a fake out, and it's in the other green for anybody who's been watching our expectations of what's happening right now. My 4D chest with myself, that's an inverse left shoulder. That's an inverse head. We're missing that point. I don't think it's coming down here. I think that could be the fake out signal, and maybe it does something like that. And instead of going the rest of the way, it actually shakes the communities out, has a huge drop still to 2,774, and that would still cause altcoins to bleed like you don't think you imagine. But it would keep XRP around $1.52, so that's a good thing at worst. Maybe even it could, maybe it could hold $1.82, maybe. But I'm just saying, this is something that you would have to be looking for, that inverse head and shoulders. Because if that's not what it is right now, we don't want to face the alternative. Because if we fall outside of that pattern, do you guys want me to be honest with? Like, I'm going to ask the audience because I've done it before. I keep very hintily talking about the fair value gaps way down on XRP. Do you want me to be honest with you for 1 second? Whether it makes your balls shrivel up or you run away, do you want me to be honest with you? I'm just saying. I can. If this isn't if I will find out very quickly if this is the one to be honest. If it's not, so friggin' be it. I don't care. I'll do it later. But you'll always hear the information eventually. And I always give my audience the opportunity to where you can walk away right now. If you don't want to hear, you can walk away right now and you can come back in about 4 minutes. I'll give you 10 seconds. Okay, I think we wasted enough time. And I'm not saying that this is what it is, but remember, we are just having a discussion here, and sometimes that's the hardest thing for some of my audience, is to just have a discussion. Is there any chance? Is there any way? Is there any possibility that from the date, and remember, this is just a discussion we're having from December 23rd of 2000, or December of 2021, all the way to now. So for 3 years, is it possible that we created a rising wedge? Because I didn't want to think it before, but it's starting to tighten up like a wedge, and we're in the uptrending position, the positioning, and rising wedges tend to do it in the upward direction and tighten as they go along. And if it is, and it could have been from a higher level because look how the pattern's playing out. Something weird is going on here. I'm just saying, I keep saying it, something's not sitting right. I can't quite put my finger on it. I really can't. So, if that's what it is, I keep saying, we're almost in that oh boy moment like 21. Oh boy is almost there. Like, oh boy. But what keeps me from saying oh boy is oh my. Right? Oh my is much better. When you say oh my in my community, oh my. Oh my is much better than oh boy. Because if I'm saying oh boy, you might have to put your helmet on. If I'm saying oh my, so I'm just Ethereum. If we want to go to the promised land, Ethereum. So we need that to hold. And it's almost like, are they playing chess with us right now? Or the bigger one, right? Boom, boom, boom. Still holds the same spot, though. That's the point. But are they playing with us to see a big inverse head and shoulders, even though there's a rising wedge actually there? Like, what the hell is really going on here? Because I'll be honest with you, when I see big inverse head and shoulders, I'm not expecting to see rising wedge right there. Like, I don't want that to be part of the database. So then I'm like, hey, you know, if that's happening here, let's take a deeper, darker look at some of the other stuff. So then I went back to Bitcoin and I said, you know, that rising, broadening wedge that we're actually in right now, what do we always say? The smaller patterns are making up bigger formations. I have a strange feeling here that 2021 is going to look like a kick in the nuts, possibly here in a few weeks or months. Oh, no, that wouldn't be running the weak hands out. That would be making you think they're running the weak hands out. But in reality, they're doing like 21 in the bull market because it was a fake market, just being pushed up on a lot of propagandist bullshit, which let me explain. We had the election in the USA. The biggest donors on both sides were through crypto. So donors aren't just giving you money, the big ones. You know, me and you, we're too stupid. If we give money, it don't matter. They're putting it in their pocket. But if they're getting it from the banks and the big exchanges and the ones who can actually make a dent, we're talking millions and millions. They're not just giving it to them, not getting anything back. They say, oh, they get a tax write-off. They're not doing it for a tax write-off. Oh, they're going to use it, but they're not doing it for a tax write-off. You know what they did it for? The crypto pump that came during it. And then how do you execute all of your money? You get retail into it as these big billionaires and millionaires are getting filthy rich, but they need exit liquidity. So a chartist might see a rising broadening wedge and say, oh, you know what? Maybe I need to take a step back. But the average person's going to say, hey, they said Bitcoin's going to 135, 151 million dollars. But the charts are saying, you know, Tom, can you really trust what they're saying? And are you seeing what we're seeing here, buddy? Because I am. And then it says, you know, Tom, there is one way to get out of this rising broadening wedge. And I say, I understand that. And it looks something like this. And I'm not going to lie to the audience. I'm going to show you everything and I'm going to work into it as the show goes on. That's what my goal in 2024 or 25 is to be more entertaining into the moment. Like, could that not be a big W reversal, bullish Gartley? It could be. Hell, could it kind of come down and make like a quadruple? I don't know. But I'm telling you, if it breaks that, like if that doesn't break out of what looks like, what could it be, like a symmetrical triangle? If that doesn't break out and it actually plays off as a rising, broadening wedge, and this is the end of it, well, we can already kind of see the formation if that's the case. And that doesn't mean this bull runs over. I'm saying, listen, I'm saying, and yes, there's a scenario where we go way the hell down. But what about the scenario that's a little more simplistic than that, where it doesn't have to be the end of the world? What about a scenario where literally Bitcoin goes from here and we end up a 22% drop to 74K? Forget the big drops. Just what if it comes down to here and has to reset? And then when Trump comes in, then it starts to actually somewhat go ballistic. Because I believe the same way in crypto is what I kind of been thinking in the this sphere as well. Got to have a big dump here real quick for when Trump comes in. It doesn't look good to have Trump come in on the highest of highs. That's why I have a target down at 39K. And then lower, and you'll see what I'm talking about. There's never been a back test on here. So why not have a back test in the stock market to 37K? And then see what happens when Trump comes in. Or maybe it goes farther. It just doesn't seem like you would have it going on such a high. I'm just saying, that's what I'm seeing. And because of that, I'm protecting my capital more. Period. You can do whatever you want. I am not a financial advisor, nor do I play one on this show, nor do I want to be one. Because if I did, I would be one. And to be one would be to lose oneself, in my opinion. And I'm not, the only FANGs I like, it's not in the FANG stocks. I don't want Facebook, Amazon, Alphabet, Google, the easy ones, you know. So, I don't know what the hell is going to happen, to be honest with you. All I know is the charts are starting to punch me in the face like they did in 2021. Not to the same extent yet, but they're telling me, hey, you got to play some 4D chess. And I didn't know it was going to end up like a math assignment on here with my setup, but it did, because now I'm running probabilities. I got the higher lows, lower highs, trying to practice to see if it's going to go down to even hit that retest, or if it falls out. Now I got the fair value gaps in there. If it falls out of that, I got the target in the middle, and if it breaks out, you know, it's never ending. Then if it breaks out of this, you got to go down to the fair value gap at $1.52. And then you could say, oh, well, maybe it's just a reset. Well, if it goes down there, well, maybe it's a head and shoulders. Maybe it's a topping reversal. If it goes to $1.05, it's sure shit is screwed, because then you got to go back down. And we're on the bottom side of it. I mean, everything is telling us, like, it's not all glamour and hope. It's, let's take a second and step back and say, oh my God. That was at 35 cents when we bought it, and it's at 2.30. That was at 0.4 of a penny, and it's at 1.4. You know, that was at 4.5, and it's still at 28. That was at 15, and now it's at 38. That was at 12, and now it's at 40. That was at 1.7, and now it's at 15. You know, there's some things that we have to simply step back and say, how many times in our life of a market have we seen it just go straight the fuck up with never retracing by a big amount? I'll sit here and wait. And the cool thing is that XRP is showing the pennant flag, while Bitcoin is showing the potential. Maybe it is a symmetrical triangle now. Maybe our saving grace is the fact that we possibly could have formed a symmetrical triangle. But we have to see. Because if it breaks down another 10%, we're going to have to hold up our pants with a pin. And that's not going to be very sturdy, you know? So, that's all I'm saying. And this isn't to scare anybody. This is actually the opposite. This is to keep you well informed. Let's see where the liquidity levels are. Because we knew it was coming up to the levels we did from 93, 94, because we had these huge liquidity. Oh, man, that looks like a pretty big head and shoulders. Take that liquidity, get rid of all the shorts, and then go clean up the longs. That's always the running joke. Always the running joke. I think that's just the market manipulators. They're like, hey, we're going to take the shorts and longs. But guys and gals, if you don't think they're coming for that liquidity below, you have not been paying attention yet. I haven't been paying attention either if we don't think it's going to hit it. Once you start getting into the 4, 5, 6, 700 million range, it's got to go down there. Like up here, there was 5, 6, 7, 800 million all the way up to 103K. Then it started to ease off a little bit. Then it would have had to jump all the way to 108K to kind of hit that level again. However, after taking out this big liquidity zone, see it at 100K, see it just below, see it just above. Now look down here. Now, we're not there yet. But once again, just in the same way I said, hey, we're going to go up and get that 91,577 million. It's rinse and repeat, folks. And you know why else it's rinse and repeat? The other reason why it's rinse and repeat, if you want to take out all of this that I've said, if you want to take out the heat liquidation map, all of the easy liquidation for the market makers to come get, how about if we just trade off of the most simplistic, the easiest, and the most profound way that I've told you if you have no clue what's going on in crypto, the fear and greed index. Overbought. If it's in extreme greed, sell. If it's in extreme, what's the opposite of greed? Fear, you buy. Which means if you bought it and now it's in extreme greed and you're in big profits, you take some of your profits. And the one message I've tried to teach my audience, and I don't care what you say, if you are buying a asset, a stock, a commodity, if you're investing in anything, you buy 2 pieces of fruit. Anything. The moment that you 2, 3, 400% and you have to make these plans when you're buying it. Hey, a lot of you say, I want to own 5,000 XRP. I want to own 10. Buy 1/3 more, or buy 1/4 more. Because then if it goes up 400%, you bought 25% more, you sell off 25%, you hold those 10,000, but you sell off 2,500 and now you've been made whole. The point of that is all you're watching is your profit go down, not your own bottom line, because you don't have any investment anymore. It's still your 10,000 tokens, but you don't have any monetary investment and you're already on to better things. That's the point of investing. The ones who are getting nervous, the ones who don't know whether to buy or sell, one, you're not, if you're just an investor, it's a lot different than what I am. I'm a trader. Yes, I invest in the bear markets, but I said this last time at the end of that run. I am not just an investor. I'm a trader. And to have the knowledge and not use it would be like to, exactly, it'd be like to not use the knowledge you have. It'd be pretty damn stupid. And since I'm here for all of you, how can you use my knowledge? I'm not charging for this. Did I say, do you want to hear the knowledge? Do you want to hear what happens? And then it's going to cost you $75 a month to get this information? Did I put it behind a cheap firewall or paywall on YouTube? No, I'm here with you in the real, in the moment, whether it goes up or down. How many people do you watch that never show up when it's red? Because it's not good for viewership. It makes you look stupid when you're talking about something when it's always going down. I know I did it for fucking 4 years now. But it's also what allowed us to get to where we're at now. So if I can find another moment in time where we're going to get a big dump off that the market's not expecting, I'm going to prepare for it now. And then I'm going to double what I thought I was going to make in this bull market. Exactly. Don't hold the bear market. That's the number one lesson I taught in 21. And some people are like, I don't want to pay the taxes. Your taxes are going to be one hell of a lot less than your profit, for one. The only thing you need to do is you need to make sure what you want to do. Like, I'm not telling you to buy it or sell it. Just like I said, when I was buying, I can only tell you what I'm doing. As I'm offloading, I can only tell you what I'm doing and the reasons why. You have to make that decision. I don't hold everything you hold, and you don't hold everything I hold. That's the beauty of this. Right now, with all of this, we went up. We went up. We went up. We were at 76 in extreme greedy. We actually got more greedy today than yesterday, which means one thing: people are buying the drop, and it's not even the real drop. That's the only thing it ever tells me. When greed goes up from the day before, and we're having a 10 to 15% market-wide drop, or 5 to 15, that means too many people are picking up before the end of the drop. If you're breaking even, you can re-enter in lower price and get more coins for you. Exactly. That's it. And that question, sell your bags with a question mark. Wrong question. Ask a better one. That's what I'm going to say this year. That is the wrong. If you're asking me with a question mark when it comes to buying or selling in your portfolio, rephrase it. What number should I look at to sell? Should I be worried for XRP? That's the better question. And good question. It's a good way that you just rephrase that for me, because now I can actually answer it, because I'm not a financial advisor, but I can show you the make it or break it oh shit moment. And as you can see by this beautiful bit of some kind of math, this pennant flag, by definition, pennant, they're bullish. They're the strong guys. But if it breaks down, how strong is it really? If a pennant flag breaks down it's 22 out of 100 times it can break down. So if I'm telling you have to make sure that it's going to break down before you sell XRP, that's because it's in a pennant flag. And I like I've said, you got to have some balls and understanding to sell in a pennant flag. I may have balls and understanding, you may have them. I may not have balls and understanding. I don't know. But I don't know what you have. But I can tell you I have wisdom that I take profits in a strategic way. I make plans for it in the bear market so that when I sell out some stuff in a bull market, it's not killing my bag. I always hold what I want to hold until I can't hold it anymore. Now, right now, a lot of room to work in the daily if we want to go back into oversold. And mine's inverted. So if it's your first time here, that is not heading into oversold or overbought. On the smaller time frame, that's heading closer to oversold. Still a lot of room to work, but it's still got room. Like, that's the thing. The fact that extreme greed got worse today, like, how does that happen? Can anybody even how could we get more greedy today after this drop? I have a strong feeling that a lot of people just don't understand the charts. Like, look what happened with XDC. Down 8% today. Now, the same people that yesterday were like, well, Tom, I thought you said that it could have been forming some kind of weird wedge. That's what I thought yesterday. And then when you see the way it kind of came back down within and broke above, it back tested it now. Is this a break back up? Is this a reversal? Like, this could all be the finishing touches here still. It can still go farther. It almost got up to the 11-cent area. It's just like with the rest. Is this the start? And if it's not, it's got two chances. One, even if it's coming down farther, you got this range, but I think it's more likely you would hit down here. And then maybe even a quick run through. But remember, you got to be very careful here. You cannot come below $1.98 right now. You cannot, or $2. You can't make a new low. The moment XRP makes a lower low, oh, buddy. I wouldn't want to be in that situation. But I will be probably. But I'm saying, you know what? Because I'll have to call something one way or the other and be like, listen, guys and gals, we've been talking about this for 2 weeks and I'm still the dick. You know, nothing's changed. You know, if you want to project somewhere, you can project to me. How about that? If you get mad at somebody, get mad at me. Well, if it wasn't consolidation for 3 years, I would feel... Yeah, I know. Oh, trust me. I'm having the same internal discussion that I'm having with you right now with myself. But there's a certain area where you start to look at, and you start to look at it in a certain way. And right now it's playing out, but that 70% of the move is where it's supposed to break out when these break out. So, as I said, I know it's a 78% of the time this breaks out, but what did I designate this as? It wasn't 78%. I penalized it for certain conditions in certain parts. And I just said, I think it's more like 62%. Which means that 62 out of 100 times it'll break out. Bullseye, I know. I understand, and that's my problem. When are we selling, buddy? Well, it's hard for me to say because for my own expectations, you guys already know, I had over the top on XRP, and I sold out enough through this run to where I am holding it for free now, over 10,000 tokens. But that was my own strategic positioning, just like I do with every other token, just like I talked about before the run happens. I have to have a certain amount until I dump the entire liquidity bound. But I've sold now over 75% of my holdings that I had. It doesn't mean I still don't have a pretty penny within, but it means that it means what it means. And I said that before it had this last push down and the push up. When it was on this part of the formation, right? When we did one of these, I talked about how I sold 75 and I got to criticize, and then we did this. And this is market, because that's not just XRP. Then we came up. Now we're coming back. Kind of looks like we're starting to fall off here a little bit while I've been live. I did not see Blockchain Backer. I apologize. I don't watch Blockchain Backer. I have given him a chance, and I like his technicals, but the advice side is, I don't know. I don't know, because I don't watch him enough. Tanya, welcome in, love, and thank you so much for being in Tom's Army for over 3 years with the XRP 589 Moon Badge. Or for 2 years, I mean. 2 years plus. Hey, I'm not telling anybody you have to sell. I'm just saying, look at it for what it is. Don't just give yourself the stick and say, I'm not selling until it gets discovery. We're not even close to discovery. That should be the last thing on your mind, for one. Do you know what we would have to be at to get in discovery? Like $3.80. We're not even close. That might as well be another bull run from where we're at right now. I want everybody in my audience to start to understand how to actually profit out of these markets. Not just, I'm so afraid to sell because I'm going to miss something more down the road. We got to... All right, anyhow. I'm trying to find one grasping straw here, but I mean, where do you find it? Where do you find it? Total crypto market cap. Even gold and silver. Even gold and silver. Like I've said from the beginning, I think it's going to force me out of it in the paper positions. I really do. I really do, because although the government, by not doing us any favors, is going to do a lot of favors to gold and silver. And this is what I think is developing right now. So if it pushes out of here, at least we could get this retest up here. But again, that looks like a rising wedge in the formation as well. So what am I supposed to believe? Also looks like a right shoulder is forming the rising wedge. So it's like, what the hell are you supposed to believe? It looks like to me on a full frontal assault that every single market's about to come clamming, like coming down. And I love commodities. So look, we're not focusing on crypto or XRP, so you can listen now. That's a 10% drop in gold. And I've been forecasting that for some time, not wanting it to, but we came outside of the rising channel. Once you break a rising channel, it's almost set in stone if you break the uptrend. Oh, well, it is. The uptrend, and that's only what we broke out of. Once that breaks, and that's just the back test of a breakout, oh my God. Then it falls back in with what looked like, it's just everything. For some reason, and the only thing that really looks like it wants to keep moving up is this pile of crap. The US dollar. So it almost looks like to me, remember Trump wants to de-dollarize? They raise that up before he gets in. Trump wants crypto, the stock market, to go up. They dump it right before he comes. I mean, it's almost like if this happens like this, it's too easy. You know why? Because then all the weak hands are going to get forced out because they're talking about, I can't take profit because this, that, the other thing. They're going to end up taking profit. It's just going to be a 30% drop somewhere along there. And then they'll take it within while everybody's thinking about rebuying back in. That's the whole point here. I don't think that this makes any sense to go in a big bull market with Trump right before he gets elected. It's like, I don't think it makes any sense for the stock market to go in at the all-time highs. I think we need to have a big correction here. You got 2 weeks to blame it on Biden, is the way I'm reading this. You got 2 weeks to blame it on Biden, the whole entire market. And Trump's going to come in and say, oh my God, when I got elected, crypto was pumping, the stock market was pumping, but then the buzz died down, and Biden started running his mouth, and now it's down 30%. Crypto's dropped. Bitcoin went from 108 to 72. But then he gets in, he's going to say, I guarantee it's going to go up. Bitcoin's going to go up to 85, 90, 110, 120. He's going to say, see, that son of a bitch was trying to crash it and make it go down. And look, I stepped into office and it's all nitty gritty, ready to go. Right? I mean, that's what I can envision. And if I can envision it and the charts are saying, hey, you got to pay attention to that possible scenario, I will. Again, if it goes up, it's easier for me. I will always preface it by that. If this goes up, it's easier for me because I do this. I do this. You think it was fun for 2.5 years? No. No, no, no. Even though it was fun for me and the ones who were paying attention, a lot of criticism. You guys are lucky I'm not made out of a rubber band in this whole safe space era. Because if I was, I would have disappeared 4 years ago. So, and this is my second bull run in front of all of you. And the beauty of it is I have not missed a single day of doing this show. I started March 28, 2021, and now it's January 7th, 2025. And by some miracle, by our Lord and Savior himself and my self-dedication, which was given to me by our Lord and Savior, we've been able to do this for almost 4 years straight now without missing a day. And because of that, we have a lot of knowledge. And we know what we've seen in the last run, while most people are new here, but you haven't seen. And the other thing that makes me nervous, and I said this when I first sold 75% of my portfolio, the reason I'm doing this, not just the technicals, but because no matter where I go now, on TikTok, on YouTube, and social media, you turn the TV on, they're talking about crypto. Every Tom, Dick, and Harry, so to say, is telling you to buy this, do this, it's going to that. That's no different than the shoe shiner telling the local stockbroker what to buy. Sorry, once that starts happening, that tells you that there's the retail is bought in, and did we not get an unbelievable surge? And I'm not saying I don't have faith, I'm just saying I can see a big correction coming before that eventual catapult, because I still don't think we've hit the highest of highs. I'm just saying, at what point You know, all I'm trying to push home is make sure you pay yourself along the way. The ultimate goal here is to not have to go work a 9 to 5. In doing that, sometimes you have to become a trader. You just have to be a trader. As much as we're investors, you can only be an investor until you can't. And invest in a bear market and become a salesman in a bull market. So again, become an investor and a deal hunter in the bear market. But in the bull market, you're not looking for a deal. Everybody who's looking for the dip, you ain't finding one in the bull market. This isn't a dip. If it is, it's a consolidation. That's very different than buying a dip. Everybody's like, I'm going to wait for the dip. Well, this ain't the dip. You're up 500% right now. It can't be a dip. It can't. The only thing it can be is a correction. That's much different than a dip or the final drop. I've heard this so many times. This is the final drop for XRP. Well, it'll never be the final drop. So the next time somebody says it, it definitely won't be the last. Just like when somebody says it'll never go up again. Never say never, because never is a long time. It's infinite. Bye, Michaela. Bye, Scarlett. I'll see you both on Thursday. Tom, what do you think the odds are of this bull run going as long as the previous ones? I think it's pretty strong if we have the proper correction. That's why I wanted to take out that fair value gap at $1.52 so bad a couple weeks ago. It just didn't play out. I mean, we were all the way down at $1.80 something. I mean, we could have just come down to that $1.52. It would have eased our pain. Just like on the way up, I wanted to back test 92 cents and it only came back down to $1.08. That's not our fault, but it was so close. It was so close. But as long as we're in the pennant flag, nothing to worry about, right? For XRP, because at the end of the day, you're not worried about the rest, right? You're only worried about XRP in here, most of you. So XRP, unlike a lot of the other ones in a gigantic pennant flag, still looking fine. Just, it's drawing our attention. Now that daily looks hideous. That's a hideous daily. And it fell under the 20-day in the daily. That's hideous. Now that could be a fake out, but it's hideous because now you're starting to draw on the line of maybe invalidating that bull flag. Does anybody else understand what I'm saying here? And that's a complete reversal in the daily time frame. You can't even call this any kind of real hammer candle. It's just too far gone. In fact, it's starting to teeter on the fact that the weekly now, I'm assuming, is not going to look so great this. Yeah. So the daily, look at that, it just closed. What's for dinner? Us? Oh yeah, H-bar definitely invalidated that bull flag. I hate to break it to you. Anybody who's seen that before. But it's not... Again, bull flag still set up, or whatever you want to call it. You could even say some kind of... Yeah, you can say whatever you want. You could say it's a pennant flag. I don't care what you call it. But that shorter target here that looked like it could have made a little bit of a bull flag, invalidated. Big time. Now you can say it's a bear flag likely forming. But until it breaks this area right here, which we always have it up so we know when to make it or break it. If it loses 27.6, next here would be down here to 23.3. Next here would be 20.4. Nothing can surprise us. It's just a matter of, are we falling out? Because then if we are, and I know I've been on for a while, it's already been 54 minutes. I think I got a donation today too, Julie. Oh, you're going to go in the... Oh, yeah. You're going to have to get some sleep tonight, aren't you? Yeah. I think Trading with J-Ride sent a $10 donation, which was extremely generous because when we're dropping like this, it's always surprising to me that anybody... I don't know. Although I do know we do something here. So, if it does come down here... Does anybody understand? Can we see this? Like, what if it does do something like this? That's what I'm saying. What happens if this is playing out? It's such a big base here to where it's either going way the hell up or it's going to reset one way or the other. And resetting isn't bad because look what we talked about before. Yeah, I mean, it's not the greatest thing. Oh my God, I didn't even realize something. This is why it screwed us up by the way it bounced out of here the way it did. We had such a steady consolidation. We came up so quick. It's never good when you come up this quick. Sometimes it keeps going up though, and then until it hits that infinite point, then you got to go be screwed again. But it came up so quick. Yeah, exactly. See, Fruity Booger knows. I think that's what it said, the name. I'm just saying, guys, I'm paying attention to if we're forming a right shoulder. That is all. Barry Yoga, thank you so much for the $1.99 donation. Your whole your first YouTube super chat. I was gonna say your whole first YouTube super chat, but that wouldn't have sounded right. That kind of sounds like a dick I was being. No, but thank you for your first YouTube super chat, $1.99, and a member of Tom's Army for your first month with the emoji badge of me being abducted by aliens. There were so many firsts in there that I kind of messed it up. Man, these all look so bad on that daily. Oh my God. January 15th is the deadline on debt ceiling needed to be raised. I believe maybe a default. Yep. And guess what? What do you guys think happens if we have a default in the debt ceiling? I'm just asking. And thank you for that $10 donation, Joseph, your first one. I really appreciate that. Seriously. That is true, John. But there is also no guarantee. See, here's the thing. They said we're going to be the crypto capital of the world, so we're going to have to buy a bunch of Bitcoin. The Bitcoin capital of the world. I already got news for you. We already are the single largest investor of Bitcoin, is the USA. By virtue of acquisitions and seizures, Mt. Gox, many other things that we don't even see. I got news for you. They're not going to buy Bitcoin. They've already got enough of it. They got so much of it, they don't know how the fuck to offload it without the price going to zero. So what do they do? What do they do? Hey, we're going to make a Bitcoin reserve so all the local schmoes buy Bitcoin. The same people that said, I will never buy Bitcoin because these alt tokens, the utility tokens, the ISO, the IoT, the AI, and the so on and so forth are the greatest thing since sliced bread. But now I'm buying Bitcoin because they told me so. 95% of the people who comment in here about Bitcoin. That's what happened. So against it, but now maybe I should hold some. My dad, if you're watching, Dad, this isn't a knock on you, my old father. Oh, wait a minute. Not old. I meant like my old friend. Not in the sense that you're getting too old. You're only 66. You know, sometimes they say you should start digging the shovel before you're done and just hit yourself over the head so you fall in the hole and get buried alive. It's one of those scenarios. But what I'm saying is that even my dad is saying, should I buy a little bit of Bitcoin in case it goes to 1 million? That's all I need to hear. Do you know how many people have said that to me now? Do you know how many people that never ask me the question about should I buy XRP? Should I buy it now? They use our tax money for Bitcoin reserve. I mean, that's part of it. Thing I am worried about is that USDT was so artificially pumped in them. Absolutely. We should all be nervous about that, Tanya, and that's an excellent point that you bring up. The good news is it's not going to happen right this moment, good or bad. The good news is what happened yesterday. We had a big dump down. So we do have a chance of having a little bit of a push up to meet it. But if we don't have some kind of big push up here and we just start going down to the next level just today again and Bitcoin falls another 5, because look, the ambiance here is now we're bearish on this daily. That's an engulfing that's about as bearish as you're going to get without making a new lower low on this candle. I mean, does anybody else see what is there? We completely reversed this momentum and completely shifted it. And now we've kind of flipped upside down to where, I mean, if you want to be honest, and I got to end this in a second, and I told you I would focus on this in a different way today. And I actually, you know what I like? Who likes this flow when I talk like this? Not necessarily in a demeaning way, but in a more some would call it sinister, I suppose, but a more, let's paint a picture here as we go along so that we can put ourselves in an equal position and then see in our own head as this plays along in the hour when we go through this back and forth, what makes the most sense, and our emotions can go back and forth with each other. Because just as many downsides I see here in certain things, I see opportunity possibly. It's just not as great. And that can be reversed. But I do like the way this is going in the new year. Trust me, yesterday I didn't want to miss. Just sometimes things go on. I got kids, as you know. And, oh yeah, if we default, and that could be why, like with gold and silver, I'm seeing that on the chart. Like, I'm just being honest. Like, there's a very real chance here, very shortly, depending on what I see throughout the analytics of what's actually being put out, there's a very real chance I may go liquid in a lot of things, including my paper gold and paper silver, which would mean commodities, which would mean my silver holdings that I have in paper. My gold and silver precious metals will never be touched. That was bought so much cheaper that who the hell cares if it goes back down or goes up. That's here for other purposes. But I'm just asking myself, I'm asking you the question that I'm asking myself. Because I still see a bull flag here for XLM until I don't. I still see it for XRP until I don't. I seen it on HBAR until I didn't. But I've been under the impression here that this very well could be a falling channel here. And even if bullish, there's a chance that if this were to get rejected and fall through, 23 cents. Remember when I said me and my brother? Does anybody remember this? Before this last rally up when I said this doesn't mean anything yet. It could be an ABC correction after it hits that resistance, which is what it looks like it could be starting. But does anybody remember when I said me and my brother talked and we were looking at that 23-cent range? If it were to drop to possibly expand, or if it breaks that, then to just do it back at the reset. But does anybody, I remember that. Okay, that's beautiful. If XRP is only going to $1.50, right? I'm just saying, if it's only going to $1.50 and you wrote it from 50 cents, is it a bad idea to sell or at least take some profits before you could just rebuy it back at $1.50? Or is the nuance here, well, if I sell it here and I buy it there, then my average is going to be higher than 35 cents? Because I always make the argument, if you buy it at 35, you sell it for 220, you buy it back at 130 or 150, couldn't you say your average went in the opposite direction? Because now you've used that same money, and let's say you go from 10 to 13,000. So now you can do 13,000 divided by how much money you spent, and it'll tell you the exact what you bought your average for. Obviously, you got to take out the taxes, and then you got to rationalize it like that. So take off 25% of that. I'm just saying. What's the chances we go all the way to $1.50? Like I said, the pennant flag normally breaks out bullish 78% of the time, but I personally denoted it that this particular pennant flag, I only put at a 62% success rate. How many of you remember when I said that? And I preface it by saying a pennant flag breaks out 78% of the time. But this time, I said I feel like this is a pennant flag where it's only 62% of the time. There's a reason I say that. Juan, welcome in from work. Oh, you just got in from work. Excellent. Excellent. And just like, does anybody remember before the run up came? And when we bounced off of here, I said a retest up here, but that could start or should start the ABC correction. I said that literally before it even came up, and I said everybody's going to go nuts. It's going to hit 250, and then it's just going to confirm the pennant flag, but then we have to go into an ABC correction to see if it's valid or not. And like once we got up there, then we start talking about, oh, we got this bull flag that's now invalidated on XRP, believe it or not. It looks like it's pretty invalidated. It's getting pretty close. If we lose the 200-day, it's fully invalidated. It's pumping good greens, XRP. Look at it this way. XRP is just one of many investments. There's gold and silver and so many other things. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's what I've been preaching for almost 4 years now. But now you're going to get this initial, let's see, because I do have to go. I apologize. But we're going to get this initial, let's see where we're at in a smaller time frame. I don't even apologize. I've been here for an hour and 5 minutes. I've done my due diligence, as all of you have. Yeah. No. Nothing's changed right now, guys. Come on. Give it a second. Give it a second. Even if it's a bear flag, it's got to create the bear flag. Nothing's changed yet. Now what we want, I'll be very transparent. If you want this to break bullish, I want it to break bullish. Make no mistake about it. I just know that there's a lot of opportunities on drops. That's all. Because everybody uses emotion. I just use the charts. This is what we want. Oh, baby. If that happens, right? You want a nice V shape, nice back test, nice breakout, nice, let's go to the promised land. So, but you know, there are things speaking. So I'm XRP Future Millionaire. I appreciate you so very much. I'm glad that you guys stuck around and you heard me out. And by no way am I saying we're going to drop or we're going to rise. I'm just saying, let's pay attention. We're not pumping yet. That's the other thing. Like guys, did you say we were crashing when we went from $2.48 to $2.27? I don't think going from 227 to 230 is classified as a pump here unless it's only worth 4 cents. Just slow down. Don't force it into a pump. Just let it happen. Let it happen. I mean, because if we're talking about maybe a pump after 1.3%, we can get excited, right? It makes the juices flow. I hope it's pumping. I do. There you go. See? Meng, unfazed, already took my initial investment. We will go. There you go. That's the point. When it's on the house and what you own is already paid for, this is so much easier to sit through. Let me just tell you. So have a blessed evening. I hope I made you look at it from both ways. Not because it's going to go down artificially all in one motion. Watch I exit and then it goes down 13%. But I want you to be open to it either way. I want you to, if you're only a bearish person, I hope you look at the bullish route that we talked about today. If you're only a bullish person, I hope you look at the bearish route that we went over today. If you're neutral, I hope that the information hits you well and you understand not just the patterns, not just the fair value gaps, not just the possibilities out there, but also maybe a way of, maybe to make it a little fun, maybe to not have so much stress, or maybe to take some of the emotion away. And at the end of the day, blame Tom. If this goes up or down, left or right, just remember, blame me. Who cares? It's not your fault. It's mine. After all, this is my television show in a sense. So if it all goes to hell, blame Tom. If we all get rich, blame Tom. At the end of the day, please just blame Tom. There you go. That's what I was trying to get at, the levels that we have not quite reached the levels where I would get excited. And Nick, I was thinking 235, but now it's at 233. Well, that kind of sucks. Are you saying there's like a thick block order now of sells at 233? That means we can't even get back to 235. 345, here we come. I can only hope so. That's about 11 grand on 10,000 shares from here. If we get to 20 this month, I'm smoking well, I won't smoke a stogie. I don't want to smoke nicotine. But if we get to $20 this month, we're going to take 10 shots on the air together. And I don't even drink, so I would be mighty drunk. If we get to $20 this month, we're going to do a 10 shot off. And I will be hammered. Because if we all are making on $10,000 and 10,000 tokens, our 3,500 turns into 200 grand. Yeah, well, we could do it. I hope so. I hope this is the start of just breaking up and out. I'm going to leave you on positive momentum. We're up 1.7%. Let's get over that 233, 230. Oh, yeah, V-Chain. Whoops. V-Chain up 1.18%. Oof. Fall back into the pattern. V-chain. God damn. V-chain fell back within. Remember, where there's not the proper reaction, there will always be the opposite reaction. So let's just say it's not meant to go all the way up to 9.6. And then that same momentum that was to the up is to the down. I'm telling you, there is a very real chance that if this didn't play out to the top side, that this will be the start of the biggest drop that we've seen. I don't like it. If this play, I don't like it. I'm leaving it here. I don't like it if it were to break down. I'm still holding out hope that we just go up to the 9 points. I'm telling you, there's a very real chance, and it's starting to bite me in the ass here as of late, but there's a very real chance that they're pulling us a big fat freaking blanket over our head, and they're about to shine the bat up. I'm just saying. Have any of you watched The Walking Dead? I haven't watched it in years. Remember that freaking, what was the bat's name? Not Sally. What the hell was it? Lucille. Remember Lucille? Was it Lucille? Is that what it was? You remember, was it Lucille? Somebody had to have watched The Walking Dead when it was still good. I haven't watched it in years, but there was a time when that's where it ended up being the end for me. It got too gross. Yeah, with Negan, yep. It got too gross for me when they were starting to bash the heads in and all that. That was past my time. That's when I had to call it quits. But anyhow, yeah, Lucille. Imagine that they're just wrapping us in this nice, fancy, gold-plated, well, maybe not gold-plated, money-plated. They're putting a whole bunch of currency around us. Man, our eyeballs they're just wrapping us in it. We're feeling good. Oh, we feel good, right? Ooh, they're wrapping us in it. We're feeling good. Then all of a sudden, bam, and you're like, ooh, I'm rich, but man, that hurt. Then they do it again. You're like, ooh, the bills are coming in. What if we are the bills? What if we're paying the bills right now for them? I always think about that. So for our sake, we need this to just break out and not show this next step in the weekly. We just want to take this and drive above. But I've shown you now. See, now you don't have to worry if it drops because you already know the up and now you know the down. And you don't have to be afraid. If you're watching me, I show you it all. So, and I give you it's going up or it's going down or it's doing this or it's doing that because I want you to make up your own mind. I be killing. Thank you so much for the $5 donation. DigiByte they're all fine right now. DigiByte's up 0.75%. DigiByte very well could pile out of here very quickly if it can hold this 1.29 cents. It could. It very well could. This very well could shoot out of here on like an inverse head and shoulders like I am hoping for. There's been some shuffling here. Every time it goes up and starts coming down, I shuffle. I'm trying to evolve this bag in a very weird way because I can't use any more capital, but what I can do is use strategic planning to increase my bags because, you know, I'm spending, as you guys know, 40 grand between my kitchen and my windows that I have, but there ain't gonna be no dipping in. You know, this is stuff that has to stay, and now I have to make money. So I become more of a trader because I want to make my money back. Do you see what I'm saying? So we'll see how this plays out. And hopefully it'll play out for the best. I'm XRP Future Millionaire. Thank you all so much for tagging along.